ever since I was a kid, Chekov always held a special place in my heart. He was so sincere, and his innocence and hapless nature made him very relatable and lovable. And of course, he was just the little brother of the crew, and I probably identified a lot with him on a subconscious level, being the youngest in my family. As I grew up, my appreciation for the character grew as well. I started to realize that Chekov wasn't just the goofball that I remembered him as, especially from my favorite Star Trek film growing up, Star Trek IV. Chekov's scenes in that movie are still some of my favorite moments from the original cast, but after the original series, the character of Chekov lost a lot. He kind of became a punching bag. But in the original series, Chekov wasn't just the unfortunate little brother. He was actually pretty capable. He played an active role on the bridge, and apparently he was the only one able to take over for Spock's station. I loved that moment when I realized, wait a minute, Chekov is kind of like a mini Spock.
Giant dry worm of Antos 4, the fluffy...
Not the whole encyclopedia, Chekov.
The captain requires complete information.
Spock's contaminating this voyage, Jim.
When I first watched the reboot Star Trek, I immediately loved Yelchin's portrayal of Chekov.
Ensign Chekov, Pavel Andreevich, sir.
In fact, I remember telling somebody after I walked out of that movie that if I had my eyes closed, I would have sworn they somehow cloned a young Walter Koenig for that role. Anton Yelchin perfectly recaptured that pure, wide-eyed innocence, and he proved yet again that the character of Chekov could be silly, but he could also save the day.
I can do that!
Yelchin's Chekov is so spot on that I don't really have a bias or a preference between new and old Chekov. They're both Chekov. And of course, he brings a new spin to the character without reimagining it.
Yes, sir, happy to.
The new Chekov is a little more authentically Russian, and I love his little sprinklings of Russianisms into his lines. It gives the character a new sense of authenticity and familiarity. He's not just a character. He feels like a person, and he has these little quirks that make you want to know more about him. I'd love to strike up a conversation with Yelchin's Chekov. Anton Yelchin couldn't have done a more perfect Chekov. In fact, nobody could have. And I will never stop enjoying his timeless contribution to the world of Star Trek.